All right, week 7 college football breakdown here. Sticking on Thursday night. Nice little battle in the American Athletic Conference. Wouldn't really call it a nice little battle. Pretty skewed matchup here. We got Temple traveling to Orlando to the Bounce House, taking on the UCF Knights. Seeing UCF at home, 23.5-point favorite, and a very low total at 46.5. Total might be low, but I do think it's warranted. This Temple offense is just atrocious. I mean, scored 3 points against Memphis, got shut out at Duke, 14 against Rutgers, and even against UMass, like 28 points. The reality of it is this team can't outrun the football. They do seem to have settled on quarterback E.J. Warner, but, he's completing just 56% of his passes. He is over 7 yards per attempt, so it's not like he's just totally atrocious. But especially in this sort of matchup, I mean, if you're not able to, create explosive plays against some of those aforementioned teams that they haven't been able to against, it's going to be pretty hard to do so against this UCF defense. It's funny because I think UCF has this kind of stigma and aura of being an offense-first program, and they certainly used to be. This team just isn't. I do think they have question marks on their offense, but their defense has been pretty solid this year. Good pass rushing ability. They're good in their secondary. The one area I think they can be had is I do think they allow too many chunk runs, but, given Temple's total ineptitude in that running department, hard to see that being taken advantage of here in this matchup. So I do feel good about UCF's defense in this spot. The reality of it is it's hard to fade Temple here because you're having to lay 23.5 points with John Rice Plumlee. And, John Rice Plumlee actually played well last week, and he kind of shut me up because if you watch that breakdown going into that SMU game, I basically called him a total non-factor in the passing game. And he did have success in the passing game last week. I think we'll see if that has more to say about SMU's defense, because up to last week, he was atrocious as a passer. He's good as a runner, and I get that, but one game like that is not going to, necessarily change my beliefs, which were pretty strong going into last week's game. I still have concerns about how UCF moves the ball through the air vertically, and, they haven't necessarily been great on the ground this year. Isaiah Bowser, who I was extremely high on coming into the year, I think he's a, really aggressive bruiser kind of back. He's taken a step back this year, and I think that part of that falls on the offensive line. They're not doing as good of a job as I thought they would. But regardless, they just haven't been as explosive in that running category as I thought they might have been. Temple's a bad football team, and I've faded them more than once this year, successfully each time. It's not on the defense, though. It's really an offensive issue. I mean, they've played a lot of lower scoring games. So, quite frankly, I know this total's at 46.5. This should be another lower scoring game. I'm not necessarily running to the window to bet this game. I think this total is about right. I probably won't bet Temple once throughout the rest of the season. They're a total fade team. Stan Drayton's a first-year head coach, first-time head coach. He inherited a bad roster, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. They're still trying to integrate a young quarterback. They got a lot of issues there. And this on paper is another pretty tough matchup for them. So it's UCF or nothing. Much stronger lean would be towards the under, but ultimately wouldn't really recommend a play in this game. All right, wanted to address one more thing before we get out of here. If you've been watching the channel, if you're subscribed to the channel, you'll know that throughout this whole college football season, I've been coming on, either after each week's slate, and more recently been doing some, weekly preview videos for the upcoming slate. And you'll notice that this week did not have an episode. I'm recording this on Tuesday night. And up until now, actually, I've been sick as a dog. At the end of the day, I'm not going to come on here looking like a ghost. It's a bad product. As much as I hate to miss a scheduled video, I don't think that's something that would have been a very good watch or listen on your end. So that's the only kind of blip in the road I expect here throughout the rest of the season. So it seems to be on the mend. So excited to make the rest of these week 7 video breakdowns here over the next day or two. So picking back up next week, we'll have those weekly storyline episodes moving forward.